Good morning. Been playing with the camera here this morning. I moved my monitor, which the camera sits on top of, and trying to be able to get the clock and the candles and myself and everything in the picture. And anyway, I've been messing with it here for the last 10 minutes at least since I finished writing the blurb. The title for today is We Watched the Celestine Prophecy. There were only 3 of us here at the Mary Horgan Center last night since Margie and others that attend were doing the Love Line at the Center for Spiritual Development north of here. So we watched a movie I had seen at least 2 to 3 times before. I felt it was important, and this morning I realized why. It has to do with energy and how we can steal it from each other rather than simply sharing it. To share our energy of love, we simply accept others where they are, allowing them to be themselves. When we are afraid and insecure, this becomes a challenge. Our defense mechanisms come into play, shifting the energy. We want them to conform to our point of view so that we can feel secure. This dynamic is in play throughout the matrix of control, hindering the new paradigm of freedom to be for everyone. I'm glad we watched the Celestine Prophecy Movie by James Redfield. And I had a mistake again. I don't see till I read it. Even though I read it before I go on, I don't always see it till I read it out loud. Uh, oh dear. Yesterday, once again, was a day of working on legal documents. I completed the ones for my friend and began doing my own legal documents, but it was also a day in which I was challenged by one of the commenters on my Facebook page and YouTube channel, frequent commenters, when I spoke about the Constitution. He sees the Constitution as a flawed document and not having a lot of relevance. He also believes that guns should be confiscated. He also believes that that property is irrelevant. He also believes that that money needs to be totally eliminated. And he hammers these points home over and over and over and over again. And each time, when he first began doing it, I didn't question it. It's okay. I love having people share their point of view. But it wasn't feeling like somebody that was just sharing his point of view. And this morning I gained some clarity on that as a result of watching the movie last night. He's actually trying to correct me, which is why it feels bad to me. Why that energy doesn't feel good. Even though I know this person enough that I've even talked to him on the phone. I've exchanged a lot of emails with him. I've told him that I disagree, and yet he hammers the points home again and again and again. And I responded in my YouTube thread yesterday, not on Facebook, but on YouTube. Shut the hell up. And others said, well, he didn't use improper language. He was just expressing his opinion. Of course, these people that responded like that didn't see the long trail behind that thing where this goes on and on and on and on. And I realized this morning as I was meditating, he's stealing my energy, or attempting to, and trying to get me to react, which I did yesterday. I reacted. As soon as I read his commentary, I reacted. And I didn't like it because I don't know about you, but I don't like it when somebody's trying to correct me, because what they're saying is, you're wrong. You're not good enough. And I've had to deal with that the feelings that arise from that point of reference throughout my life. I've battled the guilt and the shame and the insecurity of not fitting in and not being accepted, not being validated. I've had to deal with these things, and I'll bet you I'm not the only one. You know, we all deal with this because this is the world we live in. And in the movie, she talked about relationships, or he and she were having a conversation about relationships. And when he first communicated with her, when he first had a conversation, he was trying to manipulate her, taking her energy, trying to get her to do what he wanted, and to be on his side, so to speak. He was hitting on her, to put it simply. That's not how it was said in the movie, but that's how it was. He was hitting on her. And she said that she was trying to establish her own beingness, if you will. I don't know what other word to use in this moment. But she was trying to just be herself and not allow herself to get sucked in by the charming guy, as had happened to her in previous experiences in her life. I related to that, and so did the two other people that were watching the video with me last night. And it's not just in romantic relationships that this happens. It's in all kinds of relationships. And I didn't realize how deep this goes until this morning when I'm sitting in the meditation room, and boom, it's coming to me. It's actually even before I got out of bed, before I even went into the meditation room, it was coming to me, and I'm realizing, wow, this energy thing is bigger than what I thought. I mean, we really do. And I recognize that I do it to others sometimes, especially when I want something from them. And I tend to have a rule in romantic things. If I make 3 attempts and there's no response, that's it. 3 strikes and you're out. I give up. But in any case, I don't even try anymore, very much anyway. Early December I tried, and I gave 3 times, 2 emails and 1 phone call, and I didn't get a response, so it was finished. Okay, it's done. It's not going to be a Christmas present for me. But in any case, I recognize it even with the court. As I started working on the court papers yesterday, my own response in the federal lawsuit, I realized that the judge is trying to manipulate me into accepting the rules. And as I shared once in another video, one of the rules is that once the rules are established, the law has no effect. The rules take precedent over the law, which would mean that I would lose. Once again, they'd use the rules to take away my rights. And this again is manipulation. This is what my friend was doing, and continually pushing his point of view in my venue of my videos and my Facebook wall, trying to prove to everybody else that I'm wrong. It's not just sharing another point of view. I have no problem with that. It's hammering it home. And this is what the court is doing. The court does it by saying it's required. We require this form to be signed by you. That's basically what they're saying. And I have to find a way to comply without complying. That's the challenge that I'm working on, because I don't have any intention of acknowledging that the rules have superiority over the law, which is what I'm doing when I acknowledge one rule. They're wanting me to accept the whole Florida rules, or I should say federal rules of civil procedure. They want me to accept the whole thing. And that's something that is not in my best interest. I have to be me. So I engage back. When they engage me trying to manipulate me, I do the defense mechanism thing. And that's how we continue to create the conflict in our world. And I haven't fully gotten through all of this yet. I'll be working on it again today. I'm not going to my Mystics in Training group again today for the second time in 3 weeks because of working on legal papers, legal documents. But in any case, I'm hoping to gain some clarity and figure out the way that I can be me and let them be them and not allow them to run over me and stand in truth. Because the whole world tries to get us to stand in something other than the truth. As I've said many times, virtually everything in our society is a lie. It's almost all deception. It's not real. That it doesn't mean that the experience isn't real, but it's not founded on truth, and it's not established in an atmosphere of loving acceptance each of the other. It's a game. It's a duel. And I want, as I've said so many times, to learn how to dance in life. That's what duality is intended, from a creation point of view, to be a dance, to be a symphony, to be harmonious. It's not intended to be a constant battle and creating constant conflict and constant confrontation. It's about loving, not about competition. And yet, competition is what we've all experienced, even in our most intimate and personal relationships. It becomes a control game. I know you've experienced it. I've experienced it. And becoming aware of this is what the Celestine Prophecy is about. It's all about recognizing the world from a different paradigm, a different point of view. The matrix doesn't need to be any longer a matrix of control. The Celestine Prophecy is real. I'm not saying the book is fact. I'm saying the principles are real. It is about energy. And at one point in the movie, actually a couple of points in the movie, there was the cloak of invisibility, where the individual, or individuals in the second sense, were able, because they were in a higher state of consciousness, they became invisible to those operating in the lower consciousness. And I like that idea. And I've since this home house thing came up last year, I've asked a number of times to be made invisible to those that would do me harm. Because somebody did me harm on May the 27th, physically harmed me. And others have been trying to harm me in trying to steal my home from me. And so I want to be invisible to them. I want to stay in a higher energy. And the movie gave me some insights, and the 9 insights, and I've got to go back and read the 10th insight. I have the book, and I have the other book on the actual first 9 insights, the Celestine Prophecy itself. And I've read that before I ever watched the movie. But in any case, I'm learning. And so are you, and we all are being given this opportunity to learn how the energy works so that we can create a win-win situation in our world, so that we can transform the matrix that we live in. And we always live in a matrix, folks. But the old paradigm matrix of competition, hopefully, is becoming rapidly passé with things like the One People's Trust and One People's Public Trust and other things that are happening to wake us up. So I share these things with you to ponder and consider as I'm pondering and considering them myself. I did feel bad and expressed at the end in the discussion of the movie that I had felt bad yesterday telling somebody to shut the hell up. And I was screaming it, which means I wrote it in all capital letters. That's screaming at somebody. And again, this morning, I'm getting some clarity on that and getting a sense of balance. But I want you to consider what I've shared and think about how you're coming across to somebody else. What are you trying to take energy from them, or are you merely sharing your energy with them? There's a huge difference in how it makes us feel. At least there's a huge difference in how it makes me feel. Thank you for listening, and have a beautiful day. Namaste.